Hello, this is Sandra Shevey, and this week we'll be revisiting my interview with Jack Cardiff. Jack Cardiff, the great British cinematographer who photographed Black Narcissus and many of the other great classic British films. I interviewed Jack in relation to my book on Marilyn Monroe, The Marilyn Scandal, as Jack was the cinematographer on The Prince and the Showgirl. I do think that Marilyn has looked better in other films, and I think the reason that she perhaps doesn't look as magnificent in this film is that I think Olivier wanted Jack to print the takes where Olivier himself outshines Marilyn. Nonetheless, some of Jack's stills of Marilyn were amongst her favorites, the favorites of Arthur Miller, and actually some of my own favorites. I don't know whether we use any in the book. We might have. I interviewed Jack, and I interviewed him at the Fortnum and Mason Tea Room, where there was music playing in the background. He was a slightly arbitrary chap. I remember I said, well, do you think we should move elsewhere because the music might interfere with the interview? He said, no, let's stay here. So you'll hear this dreadful tea room music in the background of the interview. I decided to do Jack this week because the Hampstead Theatre is producing Terry Johnson's new play called Prism, which is an account of the life of Jack Cardiff. Johnson is the man who also wrote accounts of the life of Marilyn Monroe in a play called Insignificance, and Alfred Hitchcock in a play called Hitchcock Blonde. I do hope you enjoy the interview.
One never knows what went on in the dressing rooms with Larry and Monroe and Larry and Arthur Miller. But obviously, the one thing that was certain was that on the set there were no scenes, there were no violent shouting matches, which is interesting in itself. I mean, if Marilyn had a complaint, she never shouted out to Larry, and Larry treated her with such delicacy and patience. It's the most amazing feat of patience I've ever seen, because he was never...
Well, he got a beautiful performance out of it. That was one of the few films she won an award for, the Donatello Award or something.
That's right, the Italian one.
And I think well-deserved. She did a beautiful job of performing.
It didn't have very good reviews as a film. I think it was,
I know it didn't, but it was
too
I think
clever.
It's a lovely film.
Yeah, I think it was a lovely film too, and I was angry that it didn't get better notices.
And I think
the dialogue was marvelous.
Those close-ups of her in Westminster Abbey, the face during with the singing, the gorgeous singing, and the photography, the stained glass.
I took a lot of trouble with her, but she wasn't that difficult.
She wasn't difficult.
No, she had a good face, perfect face for photography. But there you are.
You didn't use cheesecloth or anything to make her look young?
No.
How do you shoot it? Wide angle, long angle, what kind of?
Well, we used every kind of lens. There was nothing that we said, well, we can't do this because of Marilyn. You know, we just treated her with complete freedom. And it was Larry, as the director, had the whole thing worked out. Before the film started, we had 2 weeks in an empty studio with the set marked off in chalk, and the camera operator and Larry working out, and myself working out how we would do these various
Because it's a nice mixture of scenes, of close-ups, of long shots.
That's right.
Beautiful overviews.
Yeah.
Some nice tracking shots of exteriors. Yeah, I think.
And we had Carmen Dillon's sets were marvelous. Carmen Dillon, the art director.
Very nice.
And I think it was my idea that I asked to have the set pieces, which are supposed to float. You know, it usually takes about a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes to take out nails to move the set to go back to shoot this angle. I had the whole thing put on wheels so we could just push it. It would slide out and shoot that way. Then when we want to shoot that way, we just push it back again and slide that way, and it worked very well.